it gave so much to the customers and it gave so much to us because we were able to interact with customers in a really meaningful way.
After a successful week at their Soho pop-up, we visited AYM's beautiful studio in Sussex to catch up with founder and designer Alie Mackintosh. She shared her experience from the unexpected realities of physical retail to creating an immersive, stress-free shopping environment. Most importantly, we explored how Alie made the pop-up a success and how she plans to apply these lessons to future in-person events.
So there were a couple of things that were surprising about the pop-up shop from the customer experience perspective. One of which was the changing rooms. So we did go in with the idea that we knew that customers would want to try things on, but we didn't anticipate just how many customers would want to try things on. And it ended up being that pretty much every single customer that came into the store wanted to go to the changing rooms. So we did have at one point a queue that was 30 to 40 minutes wait time. So managing those expectations for customers and making sure that we had more pop-up shop changing rooms available throughout the pop-up shop was really important. And that was a little bit of a challenge because of the space. So we initially set the space up with lots of racks of clothing and 5 changing rooms, but throughout the week we actually had to add more changing room space and take out some of the racks of clothing. That ended up working really well for us from a customer perspective because more customers were able to try things on and engage with the brand by actually seeing the fit of the clothes and trying the garments on. Another thing that was surprising was just how far customers travelled to actually come and visit us. We had customers visiting us from Germany and from Europe, and people saying that they had actually flown in for the shop, which was incredible. Something that I didn't expect at all. I thought that it would be mainly UK customers and primarily local customers from London coming in. So we had customers travelling from near and far, which was amazing. The other thing that was surprising was actually our pop-up shop was the 16th of December to the 22nd of December. I thought that would be a great time of year for Christmas sales, but in hindsight, it was probably just a little bit too close to Christmas. And to actually capture those Christmas sales, it would have probably been more beneficial to do the start of December, which feels a bit counterintuitive because you think, oh, those last minute purchases. But actually, given that most of our customers are women, they're probably more organised in that regard. So we had lots of customers that had already done all of their Christmas shopping and were coming in and saying that they would have preferred the shop to have been a bit earlier in the month. So that was also a bit of a surprise, especially considering I was a bit of a last minute shopper for Christmas. It was such an honour for people to make that journey just to come into the store and try the clothes on was incredible. Really touching and emotional for me, to be honest. Yeah, and being able to, meet our customers and speak to them in person was incredible and something that I'll hold dear to me for the rest of my life, I think. Yeah, I think it's a real challenge for all online brands because especially with garments and clothing, you want to be able to feel the fabrics, you want to have that tactile interaction with the clothes, and that is at the moment with technology completely impossible. Maybe, who knows, one day they'll create a screen which changes texture and shows you the fabric, but we don't have that sort of technology now. And so that means that there is the challenge of how do you bridge the gap between something that you're showing someone on a flat digital screen versus being able to put that clothing on their body and see how it feels and see how the fabric feels. And that's something that will be the same for all online brands. So bridging that gap, I think, is about how do we bring those clothes to life in a digital format. So you leaning into video more, leaning into descriptions more on the website. How do we showcase the fluidity of the fabric, the stretch, the feel of it in a captivating way that is also really clear to understand for our customers? And then bridging the gap further by actually having more of those in-person activations for the brand. But that is a challenge because by having an online store, we naturally have an international market base. So providing in-person interactions for customers all around the world is an operational challenge for us as a business, because even doing the pop-up shop in London, there's whole sections of customers that aren't accounted for who can't go to that store. So we'd have to have lots of brand activations all around the world, which would be great fun, but is an operational challenge in terms of budget and logistically getting product to that store and setting it up, being based in rural Sussex as we are as a brand, holding a brand activation somewhere like Los Angeles has lots of challenges that come with it. But I think having more brand activations and more events would be helpful for our customers. So we've just got to try and figure out how to make that come to life in the future. Yeah, and I was trying to think, how do we actually not limit it to like just certain pockets, and whether we have something that will move around, so like a bus, for instance, or something that's actually going to go to lots of different locations. But yeah, I think we'll explore different areas for sure and allow customers to have that ease of getting to us, and probably into North America. So it'll be amazing to do Los Angeles, New York, into Canada, all of that. So yeah, be amazing to do that. I think one of the main benefits was having that commitment from customers to attend the store. So from a conversion point of view, I think if we had just blind marketed it and like said to everybody, this is the event, turn up if you want to, but had no actual vision of what does that look like in terms of number of attendees, who's confirmed, who hasn't, we wouldn't have been able to plan the store as well as we did. And that would have been really challenging, I think, to actually make that work. So by having the tickets, we were able to see exactly how many number of people had confirmed they were going to attend. And then we had, on the back end of the ticket app, we had sort of a schedule of all the hot spots of when it was more busy. And that allowed us to plan our staff rota and our stock allowance and all of that sort of thing, which was really beneficial for making the shop work smoothly throughout the week. So that was great. It was also great to have, when customers actually signed up, they were able to give a bit of feedback about what they wanted to see in the store. So size-wise, style-wise, and that was great for planning. I think learning and leaning actually into that further for next time, it would have been good to have a booking system of actually being able to select a few different styles and make sure that we had that in stock. But we just didn't get sophisticated enough this time round, but definitely lesson learned on that one. So yeah, the ticket system was really beneficial for that. And it also allowed us to sort of cap certain hours. So where we did find that it was getting particularly busy with number of customers that had booked that hour, we were able to say that was sold out. And then the customers would sort of trickle over to the next hour. So it never felt overly crowded in the space, which was some of the feedback that we got from customers who attended, to say that they actually really enjoyed their time there. They were able to take their time looking through the rails, trying things on. We had some customers that would spend 3 or 4 hours in the store, really thoroughly looking at everything. And that level of investment in time from customers is something that will be beneficial for us long term as a brand. So yeah, I think the ticket system really helped. What we did is we had 2 levels of tickets. So we had VIP, which had like a hot chocolate and a tote bag with the ticket, and that was £5.99. And then we had a free ticket, and we found that most customers, when they went for the £5.99 one, they did show up. So they actually made that financial commitment to that ticket, and then they were there on the event at the time that they said they were going to arrive. On the other ticket, it was less converting, so probably about 50% conversion from the tickets booked to the actual attendees. And that was quite interesting because, as you say, customers, it is a commitment of time to go on to something, to put your details in, to actually want to go to that event and then to not turn up. But things happen in people's lives, and other things are going on, and they might have forgotten about it completely or moved on to something else. And especially that time of year, it's so busy around Christmas. There's so much going on. So to commit time to go to something, I think there has to be also that other element, which could be like actually paying to book the ticket. And you see that from like bridal boutiques or sort of actual personal shopping experiences at high-end brands. You pay for that slot that you go to. And I do think that makes a difference from a commercial perspective as a brand. So it's always an interesting conversation to look at pricing strategy. And I think that there is something to be said about having 2 ticket options, whether that's a more expensive one and then a mid-price one, or having the paid for one and the free one. There's something about having the option for a customer. It's then, am I going or not going, becomes which ticket should I choose? So it kind of changes that impact on purchase decisions. So yeah, I think we'd keep 2 ticket options, but what that is and what that looks like is yet to be decided, I think. So how we created a calm environment at the shop was in the lead up to the shop, we asked customers what they wanted the atmosphere to feel like in the store. And a lot of customers said they wanted it to feel calm and peaceful because they felt that that was helpful for them actually thinking through the product. I think sometimes stores go the other way and they say, well, actually, we want it to be energetic and frantic and to feel, and then that kind of puts pressure on the customer to feel that they need to purchase something. So we didn't want to go down that route. We had customers saying that they wanted to have sort of soft jazz playing and to feel that they could just meander around the store and pick up things at their own free will and just decide on what they wanted to purchase in their own time. So that's the route that we went down. The way that we did that is we just had, a soft jazz playlist in the background. When we felt that the noise outside was getting too loud, we shut the door, but we had someone outside who would greet customers and welcome them into the store. I think, again, in hindsight, maybe a street that was quieter would have helped with that atmosphere inside the store. But anywhere in London at that time of year would have been chaotic. So. But we wanted it to be that when customers stepped into the shop, they were transported into a sanctuary of calm and peace and quiet. Very different to what was happening on the hustle and bustle of the street of London. And then we also worked with a draping artist, so Mia Silvio and her team of draping artists, and they created a space that felt really welcoming and soft and comfortable when you walked into the space. So we had draping curtains, and we wanted to have sort of soft light, and that was enhanced by the draping work. And then just a real sense of calm that was created through the color coding of the collections. So not having like vibrant, bold colors as soon as you walk into the store, but kind of working towards that as you go into the back of the retail space. So all of that thought through. Initially, we wanted to have the rails spaced out, but we found that actually that didn't help with creating a sense of calm because customers were worried that there wasn't their size or color that they wanted to try on in that style. So we actually brought up more clothes from the stockroom and stocked the rails out a bit more, which wasn't particularly spacious on the rails, but it did mean that customers were able to just browse in their own pace and find what they were looking for. So that helps with that sense of calm. And then in terms of the actual tickets as well, that really helped spreading customer attendance out throughout the week. So it didn't ever feel crowded. It got busy and there was a bit of a buzz in the store, but it didn't ever sort of cross over to that feeling of chaos. So it always remained quite calm. There was enough members of the team to cater to the number of customers at any given time, and that helped as well. It wasn't that we were running from one customer to the other and that sort of thing. So that helped too. So yeah, lots of factors that we took into account when we were planning how calm the space should be. So we actually didn't really expect customers to be so particular about the things that they wanted to try on. We thought that there might be more browsing and more interacting with new product in the store. But customers had obviously got a very clear idea of what they wanted to try on. And that might have been informed by, we had customers who said that they had been following us for a couple of years and had never tried our product. So they had this list probably pending for a while, and they came in with this clear intention of what they wanted to try on. That was so fascinating to us because they would come in with like screenshots or actually a physically written out list and ask for those styles. So it says to me that actually customers know exactly what they want to try on, and we should be prepared as a brand to cater to those desires from the customer. So having personal shopping events or having a space where customers can order to a changing room and then that's already there waiting for them would be probably more beneficial for the customer, especially customers that are time sensitive, have other things they need to go off and do. They just want to kind of try it on, find the right fit, and then go on their way. So there's obviously different customer habits, and we had some customers that would spend hours browsing and all of that, but I'm talking about the customer that did have a clear idea of what they wanted to try on. I also think that for future events, making sure that our stock planning is in line with exactly what they want to see in the store. Although it does take a bit of balance, because we did find that some customers had this clear idea but then would find something else that they hadn't necessarily noticed online, and that was quite interesting as well. So we had some products like the Kelsey and Kelly that do okay for us online but haven't necessarily been classed as like best selling items for us, but in the store were incredibly popular, and everyone was picking them up and looking at them, from the color vibrancy to the way that the fabric was draping. So that was really interesting. And I think that it's just trying to find that balance between introducing customers to new styles that they didn't necessarily have in mind, and catering to what their sort of preference order list is. So yeah, getting that balance right will be something that we want to plan for next time. I'm not entirely sure on that one, because I think if I look at it online, it's got strong content imagery, it's got videos, it's described well. I think it's maybe just, again, the difference between digital and physical. And when you see that fabric in person and you feel it, the fabric has like this buttery soft texture to it. It's so smooth to the touch. And also the color is so vibrant. So when you're looking at a rail of clothing, it's this bright pink color that just pops out. So I think that's probably just hard to show through a flat screen. Whereas in person, you're looking through the rail and then you find it and it's, wow, that really stands out. I also think that the format of the shop, where we have mannequins that would highlight particular products, is something that we want to try and replicate in some way online. So whether we have like standout products on the website that's kind of showcasing it in a different format. But it's interesting because online you see the products straight on and you see all of them on the body. But then in the shop you see them sideways on the rack, and it's not until you pick it up and pull it out that you're actually seeing that garment. So it's a completely different way of interacting with how those garments look. And it's kind of down to the customer in the store when they pull that garment out and they're holding it up to think, how would that fit me, without seeing it on anyone else first. And sometimes seeing a piece of clothing on someone else first might actually be more of a barrier than just holding it up and imagining yourself wearing it. So, but that goes down to all the customer psychology and how people interact with clothes. So yeah, and I mean, lessons learned from that could be that we do things like an invisible mannequin option on the website, so you can just see the garment hanging rather than on a model, and testing different formats of presenting the clothes online. Given what we experienced at the shop, I think that it's really important. So the customers interacting with the team in particular, we had such great feedback after that customers were saying, you know, they speak to us online, but it's the same for them as it was for us during the pop-up shop, because it's different speaking to someone online versus actually meeting them in person. And they could see, the customer feedback that we got was that they could really see the passion that we have for the clothes and the commitment that we have to them as customers, and finding the right fit for them and finding a dress that's going to really make them feel beautiful. So I think that they saw that, and that really transcends what we're trying to do as a brand and helps really reiterate our values and what we care about. And that's really hard to communicate through, again, like a flat digital screen. But in person, us knowing, you know, asking the customer what they want the dress for and what they're trying to achieve with it, and then finding them the solution in person with them, is such a helpful, like, bond building experience. And the feedback that we got from that was really beneficial from the customers. So customers absolutely loved that interaction that they had with us as a team, and seeing the passion that we have for the brand. So I think that's really helped them further the value that they put into us as a brand, which is amazing. And I think that will hold itself for a long time going forward. And then from our perspective, seeing the customers interact was really amazing. So in the changing rooms, there was a real sense of community. It was kind of, it came out of customers going into the changing room and then needing to step out to look in different mirrors. And actually that way that they were interacting with the changing room setting meant that customers were stepping out and then seeing other customers wearing dresses. And they would turn to each other and say, wow, that looks amazing. And have you tried this dress? Or have you thought about the long sleeve version? Oh, and have you seen that there's a top that matches that? And that sense of helping one another out was really amazing to see that community feel there. And that's something that, again, where we think about how we build that online, leaning into customers that are sharing their own content online and getting feedback from one another. And then even on our website, having the reviews system and having the ability for customers to post photos and videos and almost to give each other like styling advice would also be really helpful. So we've learned a lot from that community element too. When a community is kind of built on helping one another, then that's, in my opinion, like a really good place to start with building longevity for that community, because you feel like you can trust those other people that are in that community, and that's what leads to friendship, and that's what leads to like the longevity of a community. So yeah, it's really exciting to see that. So for the pop-up shop event, we worked with J&J, and J&J are our 3PL partner, as you guys know. J&J were really helpful in allowing us to actually facilitate the operational structure of the shop. So without J&J, it would have been a challenge to get all of the stock in at the right time, to make sure that we had all of the stock that we needed for the opening event, and actually just to make sure that the shop was stocked throughout the time that the shop was open. So what we found is where, even on the first day, actually, we'd sold out of a few styles, and we needed to place an order straight away for as quickly as possible to get that into the store so that we had those styles ready for the customers that were coming the next day. And that was very quickly responded to by J&J, so that was very helpful. In terms of actually getting the store set up, we worked with J&J and Propaganda, and they were great for even like actually helping hands-on on the day of getting set up. They helped organise rails and hangers and everything. So what it meant when we were getting set up for the shop, we as a brand were able to focus on the marketing, the customer experience, and really lean into that side and feel that we had the confidence that our operational partners were kind of taking care of the rest, which was really beneficial to us as a brand getting ready for an event like this, especially one that we'd never done before. So we had experienced people that had run events before helping us out, and that was really beneficial for us. The premise of like ordering a VIP ticket is that you're wanting something to feel special. So you're wanting to go and have like a really special experience with that brand or that event that you're booking into. So I think leaning into that, we would make sure that, well, first of all, we always want to treat every customer as a VIP anyway, because they are to us. But having a ticket system where we're offering a VIP package or a sort of more expensive package option, we would lean into that with more experience-led offering. So we could do the personal shopping concept, or have a stylist, or have something that really gives them a sense of they're being treated absolutely incredibly for that hour slot that they've booked, or however long that is. So yeah, definitely leaning into more experiences. Customers loved the tote bag that they got, so definitely doing something like that. Feeling that they're getting something that is special to them is really helpful for those experiences, and also something that they could take away with them that reminds them and signifies that experience that they've had. I think looking at what our customers love about our brand and what we could offer them, we could do things like that. You know, we had customers that were saying that they wanted to take photos in the store, and that was something that they would come out of the changing room and go to the mirror section in the shop and take selfies. We could have enhanced that even further by having a photographer who was actually taking photos for them. That could have been really cool, or like a photo booth or something quirky. So we could definitely enhance that experience further. Yeah, I think in terms of what excites me about brand activations and interacting with our customer in person, it's the ability for us to get feedback from our customers so that we can continue to evolve as a brand that caters to them. Because I think the best way of us learning how to evolve is from hearing that directly from our customers. And sometimes it's not just what they say, it's how they're interacting with things. And you might not get that in like an online form or a survey or feedback on a social post. But when we saw the customers interacting with the product in person, it was interesting watching like what they would gravitate towards in the store, the colors they would pick up, how they were feeling the fabrics, how they were talking to their friends about the brand. All of those sort of outside of the like direct conversation nuances that were happening throughout the store were really amazing to witness and to be a part of. And then that, for me, I'm quite curious. So understanding how we can cater to those customers better, and actually observing those things and learning how we can enhance that experience for the customer online, but also in physical spaces, is really amazing to understand better. And it was also just really exciting to see what they liked from a designer's perspective. I'm designing the clothes that they're interacting with. Like, what is it that they like about the clothes and what do they not like about the clothes? And that's been really amazing customer research for me to then make sure that I'm designing with them in mind. It's completely different designing something where over the last 10 years, we've done a couple of brand activations, but not as many as I would want to. But actually having a shop in central London and interacting with those customers throughout the week that were really loyal brand followers, and seeing what has stood out to them about what we're offering and why does that matter to them, and is what matters to them the same as what matters to me. And that alignment has really helped with my design development for this year ahead. So that has been amazing to experience, and hopefully that will continue to inform how we make sure that we've got good product market fit, and like, without even just using business terminology, like actually making sure that the product is what our customers want. And that's really important, because we're wanting our customers to invest in clothes that actually they really, really value and cherish. And I want to create products that customers go to their wardrobe and they're like, oh, this is the AYM dress that I love. And the reasons that I love it is because it's got pockets and it's bra friendly. And if it's not bra friendly, it's got cups built in for a bra, and it's supportive and it's flattering, and all of those things that they learn to love about the product, and that they then pick that product up time and time again in their wardrobe. That's what I want to achieve as designer, and that's what I hope that they'll get out of the clothes. So having that in-person interaction with customers has been so crucial for our research and development in our design direction and our marketing direction, and all of the sort of brand future planning really has come out of the back of learning what our customers really want from us. Yeah, so in terms of getting direct feedback on our design development, so we do that in a couple of ways now, and also prior to the pop-up shop. So we have like a design diary chat on social media, so I can post like different thought processes and get feedback on that from customers, which is really amazing. And we can also do that through surveys. So we've always lent into surveys as a method of getting feedback from customers. And it's not just saying, oh, this is the collection that we're thinking of launching. Do you love it? It's actually saying, what events have you got coming up, and what do you need for those events? What is your wardrobe missing at the moment? What do you find really frustrating about the clothes that you've got in your wardrobe at the moment? And what do you like, really getting to the point of what do customers want from their clothes. But I think the difference there is customers can sit down and think about those answers and give you their feedback. But in a store setting, you pick up all the things that they're not saying. So all of those little things where they might turn to a friend and say something genuinely about the product, or say, well, actually, that's something that I've struggled with before. Or I love this dress, but I don't know how to style it. Like, what on earth do I wear with it from a shoe perspective? Or I've only got long coats and this dress requires a short coat. Or things like, all those little sort of outside of the box conversations that are going on are things that you just don't get when you're asking direct questions. And they come about through those natural conversations that are happening in the space like that. And so, yeah, I think it's always going to be different. And I think that having those interactions where we're not asking the customer directly, like, give us feedback, we're observing it. And that's, I think, where you actually learn a lot of the insights that might not be exactly how you think. Because again, like, you can ask questions, but they could be slightly leading and you might not intend it to be that way. But if you say, do you like this dress? They're probably going to say, yeah, I like the dress. Whereas where you're actually observing those conversations that are happening and you're seeing those different frustration points that customers feel about the dresses without them necessarily thinking that you're the designer who's walking past them in the store, is a really interesting concept. And something that I think we'll only get from that sort of setting, because we could invite customers here to the studio. But again, there's nerves that come into play. There's like, oh, well, the brand's asking me there, so I must say like what I want them to hear. Being polite, being kind, all of those things. But actually sometimes it's those moments where people are kind of caught a bit off guard that are actually really valuable to learn from. So, and the way that we get that at the moment actually is because on some of our social posts, I think customers do sometimes forget that it's a brand or it's me that they're posting on our pages. So it's quite interesting to me. Sometimes I'll put a video up and customers will have full-on conversations in the post, in the comments. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. They definitely don't recognize that I'm going to be reading this, but I'm learning a lot from what they're saying about it. And a lot of the time it will be like they'll be giving each other advice, or they'll be saying that they're not quite sure about, you know, what to style it with, or if it's supportive enough for what they're wanting. And customers, as we grow this community online, customers are jumping in and actually answering those questions for other customers. And that is a huge benefit of being like an online brand, because we've got access to these communities that are building sort of naturally on their own. And that's amazing. So we do have that to some degree now, but it's always going to be different, I think, in person versus online. The values are true to who we are. So everything that we do and our choices and our decisions that we make in the brand are based on how we feel. And that, I don't think we'll lose that as we grow, because we've made conscious decisions to not go certain ways where we could have done for the sake of growth and scaling. But we really genuinely care. So for instance, at the pop-up shop, we could have just had it like as a sample sale, and we want to make as much money as possible, and we want there to be a queue that's hours and hours long, and we want there to be like this sense of extreme urgency and all of that. But that's not how we wanted it to be, because we care about our customers having a really amazing experience. We really care about what we're making in the clothes, and not just like the clothes for clothes' sake, but like what the clothes make our customers feel. Like we actually genuinely want to make product and put product into the world that makes customers feel incredible. And so we made the decision that instead of chasing like a bigger and more profitable shop, which we could definitely have gone down that route, we decided to limit the number of tickets. And that meant that it was less commercially successful from a financial perspective, but it gave so much to the customers and it gave so much to us, because we were able to interact with customers in a really meaningful way. And as a brand, we will always prefer to do it that way. So as a values-led business, those are the decisions that we'll make, and that's not going anywhere. As we grow, we're always conscious of making decisions in the way that feels right for our customers. And I really care about how our customers feel we're serving them, because at the end of the day, we don't exist without our customers. So we have to do what our customers want us to do, and that's how it should be. So yeah, I don't think we'll lose that as we grow, because we'll make decisions based on what our customers want, and we'll continue to do things like getting surveys ahead of pop-up shops, doing events that are based on us learning and remaining open-minded. And I think everybody that worked at the shop from the team was so curious about our customers, and that sense of going into something where you want to learn and you want to see what customers love, and you want to learn like how did they find out about us, and what do they think about our brand, and how can we cater to them better. That approach to an experience like that means that the approach that the team had was to be one that was very curious and forward thinking and leaning into our customer, rather than like, oh, quick, how many sales can we get, and like, let's sell them this. And you know, it wasn't like that at all. It was very much, we were going into it with an open mind and wanting to learn. And we'll do that with all of our brand activations. So I think as long as the brief for a brand activation is, we want to figure out how to learn more about our customers at this event. We want to learn how do we interact with them in a really engaging and compelling way. And we want to put on the best experience for our customer. If that's the brief for all the events going forward, then I think that will lead to much more engaging and successful events in that regard. And that's what we want to do. I feel that this brand has been going for now I want to say 13 years, awesome. Which is a long time. And it's been really slow and steady growth. When we onboarded with J&J, we were able to scale up, which was amazing, because before we were kind of slightly limited with the sort of operational structure of the brand. But nevertheless, it's been very slow and steady. And that has been a conscious decision, because it's all, in my opinion, it's like, this is going to sound really cheesy, but it is about the journey rather than the final destination. And I think that if we were just chasing like, oh, we want to grow, we want to be this massive brand, and it wouldn't feel like full of soul. But this is actually something that we're learning, and it's a journey, and we're actually able to really enjoy the process. And that does mean that it's slower, but hopefully it means that it's going to be around for a lot longer and provide so much more value to a customer versus chasing quick wins. It would kind of feel like, what is this all for? Like, we're just churning out product for product's sake. And it wouldn't feel like actually, I think that's probably, it helps because everybody in the business, we're such a small brand that we're all so involved in like the decisions that we make. And like when we're working on a product, we all get involved in like, is that the right product for our customer? Does that actually serve a purpose? Does it solve a problem? And really slowing things down like that and thinking about each product individually and why is this adding benefit to a customer is so important. Otherwise, you just go through masses of product releases because you're trying to get the sales, and like then you look back and you think, gosh, I've just made all this stuff for stuff's sake, and there's so many things in the world. We only need more things if they're actually going to make a difference. And it kind of circles back to what I was saying about the process of design. Like, I want to make product that customers go to in their wardrobe because they really, really love it, and they pull that dress out and it makes them feel amazing, and they feel confident in it, and they feel that they could trust and rely on that piece of clothing. And that, I think you only achieve that by really slowing down that process and putting a lot of thought into every product that you release. And I think it has to be the same with events, and it has to be the same with product, like business strategy generally. What are you doing it for, and how are you providing value? The commercial success that we had at the pop-up shop was really a testament to the product and how much the customer saw the value in the product. So it was really amazing to see customers that had followed us for quite a while actually interacting with the product for the first time, and for it to be exceeding their expectations. So first of all, the customers had followed us for a while and had made the commitment to come into the shop, but then the product was even better than what they had hoped for. That was an amazing testament to what we're building as a brand, and it was really exciting to see that. And that was reflected in the commercial success that we had at the shop. So the conversion rate that we saw in the store was really strong, and it's something that we want to emulate on our online store. But it's going to be a challenge because, again, like, it's really hard to demonstrate the quality of a product, to have the customer understand how that product is going to fit them and how it's going to feel on their body when it's an online store. And so I think that conversion rate is always going to be much lower online. However, the more we are able to interact with customers in person, the more I think that online conversion rate will increase. I don't think it will ever get to the point where it's matching what we do in person, but nevertheless, it will help and it will start to influence it. But yeah, I think despite like the numbers side of it, and I think in terms of commercial results, we probably could have enhanced that more with careful stock planning in the beginning of the store. And I think that's something that we'll lean into more next time. So we had a lot of customers that came into the store with their dedicated shopping lists, and it would have been really good to get ahead of that with having the ability for customers to order those things into the store, potentially to try on, if that is something that we could work with J&J on for next time. Almost placing their orders on the website but not paying for it, but paying for it in store. Something like that would be really cool, because having the product ready for them to try on would have probably meant that the commercial success would have been even higher. However, we were able to interact with them in person, which was great. And I think for the longevity of the brand, that is going to be helpful for us and our commercial sustainability going forward anyway. So yeah, overall, it's been a real success. Being multi-channel is more a marketing decision than a commercial decision, in my opinion, from what we've experienced as a business, because you might not get huge amounts of sales from a pop-up shop or a physical retail space, but it is an amazing gateway for customers to understand the brand. So to go into a space where that physical space is representing what you care about as a brand is so engaging for a customer to see what you care about in terms of the aesthetics, the vibe, the atmosphere, that you go into that space and you kind of immerse yourself in the brand world. That is really engaging and captivating, and it's a completely different experience, obviously, to then like the online flat channel experience. Then also you have the ability to try on the product, to see it firsthand, and to see it before you're committing monetary value behind that product. So I think when you're an online brand and you're going just pure play online, what you're doing as a brand is you're relying on customers saving up hard-earned money to make a commitment to you as a brand before they've ever experienced that product in person. And you're asking them to send you money before there's any sort of trust that's built. And then after that transaction happens, then the trust can be built once the product arrives to them. But obviously you've got all of these other things that are sort of out of the control of the brand, such as logistics, the shipping, the packaging, all of these things. Obviously some of those decisions are within the brand, but you've got all of these different things that happen post-purchase that have to build trust. And those are like huge decisions for a brand, but they make such a difference to the customer's experience of how they interact and how they trust that brand. And then once that product arrives to the customer, that's their first interaction physically with the brand. So you're relying on the customer having an amazing unboxing experience and trying that product on and loving it if it's clothing. However, in the store, that model is flipped on its head. The customer can go into a shop, can try on the clothes, can interact with the fabrics, can feel the brand, can interact with the brand before they ever commit money. So you're kind of putting yourself out there as a business first and then building the trust, and then the customer can make the decision as to whether they purchase with you after they've got exposure to all of these things that make a difference to their purchase decision. And it's like flipping both models on completely opposite models. So I think that they kind of have to work in harmony, and that omni-channel decision as a business has to rely on the fact that you're able then to give the customer much more when it's in person. And I think that adds to that online experience, because if a customer has gone into a store, has had all that trust building, has experienced the brand in person, they're much more likely to then shop online because they understand you, they recognize the brand values, they know that they can trust you, they know that the fabrics are right, that the fit is right, all of those things. And they know what decision making you make in store, and that will be reflected in their experience online as well. So if you go into a store and they haven't really thought about the feet, like there's clothes hanging off the rail and it's dirty and it's all this sort of stuff, you can kind of expect that online experience is probably going to mirror that. But if you go into a store and everything is really taken care of and they value the clothes and they value the quality of everything and things are hanging nicely and the team are attentive and the team actually care, you're probably much more likely to believe that experience is going to be mirrored online.